Welcome back. It's Kovacs Report. We have more Age of Revelation time reviews to get through today. We have so many books to review this week. I don't know how I'm going to get them all in, but here we are. This is the big one. Radioactive Spider-Man, my favorite character, and I have definitely been looking forward to this one, right? But is it any good? Well, we're going to find out because I'm going to go through it page by page, give you my thoughts, which means there will be lots of spoilers. So do read the book beforehand. If you don't spoil it, like the video if you can. And if you've got a second, guys, just hit that subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow the channel. I need your help to do it. Can't do it without you. So I thank you in advance. And I appreciate every single follow, every single like, every single comment, every single share. So, know that you are appreciated. Now, back to Spidey, right? My favorite character. Now, I have been looking forward to this book, as I said in the intro. But is it any good? Well, I tell you what, it's better than Amazing Spider-Man. And that's not saying much, but there are some good things in here. I think Joe Kelly has captured some Peter Parker and some Spider-Man that we've been missing in some recent books of his, which we're not getting into today. Let's dive in. Now, we have Cecilia Reeves. Now, she is a mutant, of course, a reluctant member of the X-Men, but also a medical doctor. Now, through some storylines in the past, I think Krakoa and some other things, she became an expert in mutant biology, which is perfect for this story, actually, because, good old Pete here. Oh, Pete is being ravaged by radioactivity. Why? Well, when the X virus hit, he thought to himself, well, you know what? I've got radiation in me from my spider bite, right? So if I douse myself, rather, in radiation, maybe that will fight it, keep it off. But no. It has a bit of a side effect. Now, it has like definitely stopped him from fully mutating, potentially killing him. But what it is doing is it's slowly eroding, and it is keeping the X virus at bay and stopping it from essentially really altering his DNA much further than it already has. As you can see, he's got many appendages, which I pointed out in the preview of this, that I found it was lazy storytelling. Now, listen, how many times have you had a Peter Parker that something's happened and, oh my God, he's got more appendages, just like a spider. I thought, come on, let's be original here. You have a chance to do something completely different. But no. But anyway, it doesn't detract from the story at all. And like I say, it is a mixed bag. Now, a big part of this book is Kev Walker. I love his art. It's so much fun, and it really does capture the essence of the story and Spider-Man for me. So the art is really nice. I really, really like it. Okay, now let's dive into the story. So, of course, it is 10 years from now in the Age of Revelation. We are in New York City, and Spidey, as you would expect, is swinging through the city, doing all the good stuff Spidey does. But not everything good happens today. No, there is a huge explosion, absolutely huge, sending New York mutants flying. And out comes this guy. Yes, this guy. Looks cool as hell. I love the character design here. I love how he looks. And he's angry, of course. He is fighting the power. He's fighting back against Revelation. Now, he's called a Lowlark, they called him, which I guess is an unpleasant term to call people who are either poor, resistance, rebels. I don't know. But the hipster New Yorkers here, right, they don't like him at all. No. But he doesn't care because he's on a mission, right? But that mission is interrupted by that local police force, as you can see here, heavily armored, all super mutant out. They've got all sorts of different powers. You can see this sort of guy here, kind of a cross between, I guess, Venom and Mr. Fantastic. His arm goes out in this gooey, spirally thing. It's pretty gruesome, pretty gross. And he tries to stop him from getting away. Now, picks up this van, which is, of course, a donut van because we have police here. Now, if I was a different type of person, I would say there's a lot of sort of subtle nods at current political themes here, but I'm not going to do that. We're talking about a superhero story here. Now, of course, he looks like he's in trouble. Okay, it's 4 heavily armed mutants against 1. It's not looking good. But Spidey to the rescue. Here he comes. Thwip, thwap, thwip, thwipping through the city. And that van, of course, has donuts in because, we had a page full of police. Now, here's Spidey. Now, the suit is pretty cool, right? Okay, it's his old suit, Angelo. What are you talking about? Well, it's got that sort of tech on it. And that tech to me, and that's me only maybe, it says to me there's a sort of mixture of Norman Osborn's tech and Tony Stark's tech mixed together there, or maybe Norman's tech, because, in the Amazing Spider right now, Norman and Spidey are buddies, right? So maybe this tech's from Norman, who knows? But what that tech is doing, I think, is it's helping that radiation not basically kill Spider-Man and mess him the hell up. Anyway, that's what I get from it. So we get this nice full page here, fully revealed with his extra appendages in his new suit. And the battle begins. And the battle's pretty cool, actually. There's some aerial fights, some punches, some kickings. There's some superpowers flying everywhere. And the dialogue, I'm just going to say it here a couple of times more. Dialogue's terrible. I just hate the dialogue in this book. It's so cheesy and it falls a little bit flat. Now, someone in the comment of the preview video I did of this book said it sounds exactly like New Yorkers, but I'm just not convinced. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a New Yorker. But anyway, the humor doesn't really gel well here. It doesn't sort of give pace to the story. It just feels like you're reading through a lot of laborious stuff because, well, that's Spider-Man, right? He talks while he fights. And I'm like, come on, just get over it. Anyway, this Spider's a little bit more brutal, actually. Okay, a little bit more brutal. And I kind of like that. After 10 years of being ravaged, I guess, by the Revelation territories and the radiation, you kind of would be a little bit more pissed off, right? But he's still true to Peter Parker. That's one thing that I did think was done very, very well. Throughout this, Peter really is Peter, you know? I feel like this is the Peter we've been missing in the Amazing Spider-Man book. Now, let's just say the fight gets finished. No one gets sort of killed or anything. Good old Spidey, right? Everyone's sort of left behind to nurse their wounds, and we go back to the little base where they're hiding out in Lowtown, okay, which is south of 14th Street. Now, this mutant chappie here with the flaming head kind of went off on an unsanctioned mission. Now, this is like I say. This is Cecilia Reeves, who we met over here, the medical doctor, and she's not happy with him because he went off, okay, unsanctioned, right? She says, listen, right, I know we needed those medical supplies, but if you go out on a mission, get my permission first, take somebody with you and do it under the cover of darkness and do it quietly, okay? We don't need anyone getting hurt. We don't need to draw any more attention to ourselves. It was a silly thing that you did. And he was like, okay, I get it. Now, while they're chatting, there's this really nice thing that happens here. So like I say, this is a mixed bag book, all right? He's talking to Dr. Reeves about Pete, saying, why is he still here? He's not really a mutant like us, right? And she's saying, listen, he is in all the ways that matter. And he's saying, well, he doesn't need to be here. He could have gone, right? But that's not Peter Parker. And that's the one thing that I do like about this book is that we are getting that real characterization right. Of course, Peter wouldn't leave people behind who needed him. He would sacrifice everything for the betterment of other people, right? He wouldn't abandon them. And that's true. And that's why he's still there. He's trying to help. 10 years suffering. Now, we get a little sort of tour of New York here. We find out that the village, the village has changed a lot, right? And there's a little interesting thing here, okay, where you see the no powers sign. So people aren't allowed to use their powers there. It's a very, very upmarket place now. It's very much where the sort of the rich and the favored by Revelation live, okay? It's been renamed Highside, and they all live down in the Lowtown, which is where the poorer people live, and of course the people that are not really in Revelation's favor. But we do learn there was a year-long Manhattan massacre, right? And the whole place has been reconstructed up in Hightown. And that is a story I would have loved to have read. That would have been amazing. I wish they'd tell that story. Anyway, like I say, she talks about the place and she walks down back to her apartment, I guess. And there's old Pete looking a bit worse wear after that fight. And of course, he has got that radiation that is still ravaging his body. And we find out a bit more about that before we find out that those two are together. Because of course, right? Yes, I know. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Can't be with Mary Jane anymore, right? What happened to Shay? What happened to... I'd want to know, actually, what happened to Mary Jane and Shay? Because that's the kind of things that you'd expect to be. Or even Felicia Hardy. Well, we know what happened to Felicia Hardy. Anyway, I digress. What we do find out, okay, is that he has to have regular radiation treatment. Now, after that initial dose to try and stave off the X virus, which is now attacking his DNA, they figured that a sort of a measured dose of that radiation would equal more resistance to what's going on in his body. He says it took a while, but we dialed it in so that a dose lasts me a few weeks. Then I start coughing up blood. He says, rinse, repeat. Then the blood comes from different places, but it's worth it, I swear. Okay, so again, this is where Joe Kelly's getting it right. We are getting a real deep story here. We're finding out how much pain and struggle he is going through just to stay alive. And that part I'd like. It's just the dialogue. So terrible. So terrible. Anyway, we also find out CC here, as he calls her, because she has these force fields, okay? They're impenetrable. But when she starts feeling that radiation hit those fields, she realizes, it's time for another dose. So if they need a dose earlier, okay, he gets the dose. But you can see how much it ravages him coming out. It's probably like chemotherapy, right? I mean, he comes out of there, he's on the floor, he can barely walk. You can see how distorted and mutated that his hands and some of his limbs are. And he's out of it. He is in no fit shape to do anything. Okay, we have a little joke back and forward here just to show that they love each other, and a tear is shed. You know, she feels for him, right? And then we get the alarms. The alarms are going off. Now, Pete, of course, because he's Pete, he's not going to sit there. She says, listen, you need to sleep, right? Leave it alone. Don't do anything. He's like, how could I sleep knowing that there are 5 biosigns out there? I need to go out there and do something about it. So he throws the suit back on, of course, because he's Peter Parker, right? He'll always do the right thing. And she's like, be careful. So who are these guys, right? Why does he have to go out there and stop them, right? This is the interesting part, right, where they do a little twisty in a minute, right? So we go to the what was the Manhattan Bridge, and we meet these 5 guys here, or rather these 4 mutants actually. It says 5 biosigns just cross perimeter. There's 4. Anyway, it should be 5. Let's get to the point. So there's a lab, and we find out that these labs are actually ex labs that used to belong to Sinister. So I'm guessing these mutants may have came from Sinister's haven. Maybe they've come on a mission for Sinister, or maybe they're just doing their own thing and they want to rescue this equipment so it doesn't get into what they consider the wrong hands, or maybe do something bad with it. We don't know, but we do find out they're not very nice. So when they break into the lab, they notice there's a pod there, and there is a life sign in that pod, but they don't care. They just shoot it, which disables it, which could potentially kill the person inside it. But he's like, who cares? It's been 10 years. No one's going to miss them. So we know they're bad guys, you know. So it's a good that Pete is here to stop them from doing the bad thing. And here he comes. He says, get the hell out of here or you will die. And I thought, well, hold a minute, that's a little bit out of character for Pete. But hold on. It's because of the twist. So, of course, a fight's going to happen, and some giant cargo boxes, I guess, are thrown. There's some punches, some kicks, all sorts of stuff, as you can see here. Now, the fights, these are pretty good. They're pretty dynamic. It's what you expect from Kev Walker. He's really good at this kind of stuff. And then Cece appears out of nowhere, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Where did she come from? Was she in the pod hiding to sort of go, surprise? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure where she come, but she's here. Anyway, she is here. Okay, she says to Pete, yeah, maybe just don't kick the guy with the skin density of granite. And again, this is the couple of panels which kind of like stop the flow, because you're thinking, well, where does she come from? And what the hell? What's going on? What are they talking about? Anyway, we get back to the fight and we get more of this standard dialogue, you know, from the bad guys. The gifts of our forefathers will not go to impure scum and their co-conspirators. And he says, well, I'm not here to protect the machine, you idiot. And the fight continues. And then one of the bad guys says, see, friends, there must be some hell of a treasure if these race traitors are risking their pathetic lives to protect it. And Cece says, you stupid son of a... He came here to save you. And there's the twist. That's what he meant. When he said, hey, get out of here, you're going to die, he didn't mean I was going to kill you. No. He meant something else is here, and it's going to kill you. And then we find out what it is, as this giant purple tooth-laden tentacle thing comes out of nowhere and squashes the living hell out of one of the bad guys. It's hilarious, actually. I enjoyed that moment. Now, Cece, she throws up one of her impenetrable force fields to protect them from what's going on. And you just hear all sorts of terrible noises and sounds. Obviously, it's making mincemeat out of the rest of them, I guess. And then we get the reveal. What is this thing? What is this dangerous thing that Pete had to rush over to this lab to protect these 5 people from? Now, I'm going to prefix this with, I like the fact that this specific character is involved. I'm just not too hot on how they've done it. So who could be the person? Mary Jane? No. Shay? No. Anyone else that you could think of? Well, of course, it's got to be Aunt May. Yes, Aunt May is that terrible mutated monster. And what it looks like is she's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, where she transforms into this terrible, terrible, bloodlusting beast. Okay, but when she transforms back to a sort of more human visage, she has no memory of it. I mean, it's kind of stated here. She says, Peter, oh yes, I feel quite refreshed. Why are you in that outlandish costume? It's like she either hasn't seen him for so long, or, you know, doesn't understand what happened when she's in monster form. I think it's a mixture of both. But anyway, of course, this also explains why he probably hasn't left the city, as well as being the good guy, is that his poor Aunt May is trapped in a lab in this terrible mutant form, and they're keeping him there to hopefully find some kind of cure, I guess. But there she is. She looks a little bit younger. But that's Aunt May, right? Tell me I'm not wrong. He says, hey there, pretty lady. He always calls her a pretty lady. So there we go. That is Aunt May. Yes, so listen, well, he says it, I won't, Aunt May, I promise. Yes, definitely Aunt May. But I was questioning myself there. So listen, I love the fact that, Aunt May, something's happened to Aunt May. I would expect that in this story. And maybe if I was writing it, I would write something in that happened to Aunt May. I mean, what else? Where else would you go, right? That's going to mess Peter up. But I'm just not sure of turning her into some raging monster, I don't know, but let's see how it pans out because it could get more interesting. I've read this book 3 times, and the first time I read it, I really didn't like it. The second time, I started seeing some of the qualities in there. We do have a very classic Peter Parker. He's true to character in this. All right, I wasn't too sure about the relationship with Cecilia Reeves, so I thought, maybe that's a bridge too far. Maybe we need someone more familiar. But you know what? It's okay. It's 10 years. A lot of things could have happened in that 10 years. So it stands to reason that she, as a medical doctor, would have stayed behind also to help people. Their paths cross, they decide to help each other, fed in love. Again, so, like I say, with 3 reads in, and it's not terrible. It isn't terrible. It isn't terrible. It's just not great. The dialogue, if the dialogue was polished a little bit more and some of the cheesy elements removed, it would have really shaped up to a really, really good book. But on the whole, right, I'm going to be a bit more generous this week and say it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that great. Now, the burning question is, if I wasn't reviewing these books every week, would it be on my pull list? Would issue 2 be on my pull list? And the answer is no. The answer is not at all. But here we have it. It's not bad. Give it a read and let me know what you think. Those are my thoughts. I think I got everything right. Sometimes I miss things, so let me know if I did. But yeah, Joe Kelly, Kev Walker. There we go. Radioactive Spider-Man #1. Of course, I'll be reading #2. I've got to do right. I'm a reviewer. So take care. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if you can. Hit subscribe too. And we'll see you later, Spidey fans. I'm going to press the button and say goodbye.